Tom Daley, congratulations on making it here, because I do know you have had quite a rough trip to get here.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rocky road, let's just say, because I've been really ill over the off-season, and getting to compete and getting to the standard of being able to even function to get to the start line was really tough. So I'm really happy to actually have come away with the gold medal.
I mean, so it was what? It was pneumonia?
Yes.
And then it was, mononucleosis, like the kissing disease?
There was so many things that just went completely wrong, and, you know, everything was thrown in there. And as you know, diving in any situation when you're not feeling 100%, it's dangerous up there. Like, even 2 days before the synchro event, we were debating whether or not to carry on diving, just for safety reasons. You don't want to go hitting your head or landing flat. You know, it's just, if you think long term, you don't want to injure yourself even more.
Well, that's it. Like, how much weight do you put in between the short term? I mean, we know that Commonwealth Games is so important for commercial reasons, but it's not a benchmark event as far as your funding goes, right?
Exactly, yeah. The World Cup is a more important event, and at the end of the day, the Olympics is the only event that I see of high importance between now and 2020. All the events in between are qualifying and experience and getting ready, but I have to always have in mind what is going to be best for long term going to Tokyo 2020, because I'm getting on now. I'm one of the oldest.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23, yeah.
I'm getting on.
But you have been in the sport for quite a long time.
Yeah, I went to the first Olympics in 2008 with you. When you
I remember.
Beat me. But I mean, yeah, so I was just turned 14 then, so I've been up on 10 metre for 15 years.
So, but what motivates you to keep on coming back and punishing yourself on the 10 metre year after year after year?
An Olympic gold medal. It's the one thing that's eluded me in my diving career, you know, national, European, Commonwealth, world, but never an Olympic title. So,
well, out of all of those, the ridiculous number of world championships and world titles and all of that you have won, which one are you most proud of?
I think obviously my Olympic bronze medals I'm really over the moon with them, but the World Championships in 2017 last year, after in Rio having such a nightmare of a competition in the individual event, and doing so well in the prelim and then bombing out in the semi-final, I was completely devastated, as you can imagine. And I was just, I really wanted to come back with something to prove, because I knew that I could be the best on the day, and coming away with the gold at the World Championships last year, I was just over the moon.
Well, how did you actually deal with that? Because the prelim in Rio, you looked like you were going to absolutely smash the Olympic record, and then the next morning you had, look, I don't want to call it a disaster, but it was.
It was a disaster.
How did you deal with that? Like,
I was asking myself questions like day in, day out, and I just still can't quite get my head around quite what it was. And sometimes if I was to do 100 lists of my dives in a row, there would probably be one where it looked like that. And it just so happened that I did that one on that day. And I was completely devastated, and it took a long time for me to even be able to think about getting back up on the diving board, but once I was back there, it just gave me this massive lease of motivation and, a big kick up the backside to go and try and win a gold medal.
It was just because it was a morning session, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was the morning after the night before,
Exactly.
Yeah.
How important was it to have Lance there? Like, how much did he help you through that?
I mean, having Lance there, he's very good at making my brain rational when I go into a little bit of a downward spiral of, oh my goodness, I did this, or what if I did that, or I can't believe this happened. He's very good at making me feel so much calmer about everything, and making me feel like I can come back, and I can do it, and I can get to the point where I'm training really well, and I can get to the point where I'm competing at my very best again. So he helped me through it a lot, actually.
Sometimes it's great just to have, we can be our own worst enemy as athletes.
True. We beat ourselves up because we're perfectionists at the end of the day.
That's it. So what do you think, how long did it take you to recover from that, mentally, to change that mind frame?
I mean, I took 6 weeks off, just completely away from the pool, because I was just I need time away, I need to regroup, if you like.
Did you ever consider retiring at that stage?
I mean, as soon as I finished that semi-final, I remember saying when I spoke to the BBC, I was like, I'm going to Tokyo. I can't finish on that. There's no way. If I'd won a gold medal then, it might have been a different story. I probably wouldn't be here today competing. But, it did just, there was something inside me that knew that I wanted to prove myself and do something better, because I know that I can be the best in the world, and I just have to do it on that one day, which is what diving is so exciting. And that's why it's so exciting, and why it's also devastating at the same time. But you know, I took that time off, came back with a bit of a fresh head, started doing my strength and conditioning for the next month away from the pool, not doing any diving at all, and then came back into it gradually, and then just had this fire inside me that I really wanted to prove myself.
What else did I want to ask you? I have so many questions, honestly. Like I find is particularly the psychology of it all really, really interesting, and but you know, we do have very limited time. So I did want to, I know everybody talks to you about, you know, your relationship, because it has been so public. Like, what's it like having a famous partner and being in the spotlight all the time and being under so much scrutiny all the time?
I mean, you kind of have to learn to not care what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Like, me and my husband Lance, we just do what we do. We, you know, I feel so lucky to have been able to find someone that understands what it's like to be in the spotlight, understands what it's like to have to work really hard to be the best at something, and having that understanding is really good for me supporting him and him supporting me. And because we're in completely different fields as well, we can be a little bit more rational for each other and be able to help each other when people, you know, especially because Lance is a creative, he can and especially as if anyone has a writer as a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is, they will understand that, you know, they go ups and downs in their emotions and get very much inside their head. So being able to speak to him and get him out of his head is also it's quite nice.
Do you see similarities between, you know, both of your careers?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. That's one way how we actually connected in the first place, is that after 2012 I had a massive downer. Like, I was so, you know, I didn't know what to do after 2012. It was all I was thinking about. So thinking about afterwards, I was like, what on earth am I going to do? And then going for Lance, after he won his Oscar in 2009, he had the same thing. He had this big lull where he was like, what now? Like, it was just that weird thing that it's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't been in that situation, because, you know, if I was to go talk to one of my friends, like, oh, I won an Olympic medal and now I'm really sad about it.
It looks like, really ungrateful, yeah.
Like, what do you want about it? But there's just this thing that just all of a sudden you end up like down in the dumps and you're like, what can I do to get out of this? And, you know, sometimes it either takes a bit of a bad performance or something to, like, you know, give you a kick up the backside. But, you know, Lance and I were able to really understand each other and be there for each other when we get to that moment.
Has his career given you an appreciation of movies and literature and that sort of stuff? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really watch that many movies because, as you know, we don't really have much time as athletes, but I'd never seen anything that Lance had done, so he opened my eyes to a whole world of things, and not just about movies, but also about the LGBT movement, because I had growing up in the UK is so much of a liberal place. So some people don't get it and some people don't like it, but to the point where only 30 years ago, people were getting beaten up in the streets and people
there
really
was a secret language to prevent, you know, people being found out.
Exactly, and I was horrified to think that, you know, it was only been last year, it was 50 years since the decriminalisation of being gay in the UK. So, you know, to me it's just absolutely nuts, but, you know, that's some of the mindsets of the older generation still.
Oh, absolutely, I totally understand that, and we see it in Australia still. So Lance has really helped you, I guess, learn about queer history.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what the motivation was for you to use your gold medal here as an opportunity to speak out on the politics of LGBTI laws in the Commonwealth?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's lots of reasons why I think it's very important to shine light on the LGBT issues, because we're at the Commonwealth Games, the friendly games, and, you know, you see plastered everywhere in the Commonwealth Games, you know, diversity, unity, and all that kind of stuff, and these are words that we want to make sure that we can spread that across the whole Commonwealth. You know, there's now 36 nations that, you know, criminalise LGBT people, and
that's just in the Commonwealth.
That's just in the Commonwealth, and, you know, outside of that there's you know, way more than that. And, you know, through Lance, I've met so many different people that are really pushing for that. Peter Tatchell is a guy in the UK, actually an Aussie guy, moved to the UK, who has been such an amazing force to try and push that, and has been working with the Commonwealth to really try and lobby to get some of those laws changed, because, you know, I'm so lucky to be able to stand up there and feel safe and not have to worry about any ramifications, but there's so many people growing up that don't have that equal start.